Have you ever thought riding was so much easier when I was younger? I was able to learn more quickly. I never worried about falling off, and could just bounce around on the horse, and I never had this feeling of, I'm out of sync and what do I do? A lot of this has to do with our movement patterns, and specifically how, as adults, many of us stop doing new movements. Not only do the learning centers of the brain that are more open for learning new movement patterns, not only do those start to change and close, but also we kind of just get stuck in our ways. I'm Callie, founder of Horse Class, and today we're talking about movement, why learning movement, being more aware of our movement, and doing new movements is so important for our riding. I want to begin by talking about two things that really affect our movement. The first is the awareness of our movement. So we tend to go through our days doing the same things. We do the same activities. We're sitting at our computer, we're driving our car, we're walking in the way that we normally do. We might have old habits or patterns from injuries that we have and that we're still compensating for, from stiffness or soreness that we have in our body. So we have this way that we tend to move. And our brain works by giving literal brain space to the areas of our body that we use most often. This is why, for example, musicians or people that do fine art tend to have even more mapping for their hands. Now, we all have more brain mapping space for our hands, for our feet, for our face, for those sensitive or those more articulated parts of our body. But the challenge is when we come to riding, we have to really have a sense of our seat, of our pelvis, our hips, our thighs, our center, our rib cage and chest and shoulders. All of those areas of our body that, let's face it, if you have what's kind of a normal modern life, might not be getting a lot of awareness. So as time goes on, as we become adults and we become older, we are literally losing the brain mapping for those areas. And this is why I mentioned that any movement, any new activity, exploring new movement will help to expand your brain mapping, literally expand that space that gives you more awareness of being able to feel, is your seat level in the saddle? Do you have too much weight on one seat bone versus the other? Do you have good contact on your thighs? Are you centered in your weight, or are you a little leaning forward or leaning back? This awareness is built through not only doing these different movements, but also being really present as we do them. Noticing our body, noticing what we feel, noticing all of those sensations. The next important thing to understand is that how we think about our movement matters. So if you think of yourself as being stiff, being sore, if you always think of your body as being old, it's going to affect the way that you move. You're going to move in line with the way that you think and the way that you picture yourself. So instead, imagine how you want to move, especially when you're riding. Those feelings where everything is fluid and you're in balance and you feel the energy flowing through you. Imagine those times, imagine that movement being mobile and strong and balanced, and your movement can improve just by changing the way that you're thinking. Whenever you hear new advice or a new riding tip, don't just think about it, don't just conceptualize it. Imagine it in your mind and move your body. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to go through a little exercise together to bring you into your body to feel where you might have some blocks and then how you can move through those. And this is what's going to be such a good riding warm-up for you as well. So make sure you're somewhere where you can join in for the next few moments, clear your space. I'm going to stand up and we'll start that exercise. There's going to be two parts to this exercise. the first thing that we're going to do is to be like a reset and a time to really go inward and just notice what you're feeling in your body. So we're going to do a shaking exercise. So for this, you want to be standing. You want to have your feet about hip widths apart. And what you're going to do is you're just going to start to bounce lightly on the balls of your feet. Now, I really like to close my eyes for this because it helps me just to go more inward and really notice what I'm feeling inside my body. So make sure that your knees are slightly bent, that you're just lightly on the balls of your feet, that your shoulders are relaxed, your hands are relaxed, the muscles of your face are relaxed, and just start to bounce. You can go slow, you can go a little bit more quickly. Right now, whatever speed is comfortable for you. But what I want you to do first is just play a little bit with the alignment of your body. Notice what feels more or less comfortable. If you go a little side to side with your shoulders, with your head, if you let your hips come forward, let your hips come back. There's no wrong answer here. It's just noticing for you, where do you feel most aligned, that this little bouncing or shaking motion can come up through the ground, from your feet, and most easily through your body. That you're not having to hold yourself, that you can find where you can do this motion and this movement with the least amount of tension. Now we're just going to do this for a few more moments. Keep moving a little bit, experimenting to find the alignment that feels best for you, but also feeling if there's anywhere in your body that you're feeling a little stuck, that you notice this part isn't moving. And then just keep moving softly and see if you can find where you can release that so that this little motion comes all the way through your body evenly. That you feel it just as much in your wrists, your hands, your fingers, as you do in your shoulders, your upper back, your neck, and up through your head. You might even feel it slightly in your jaw. If you let your jaw soften, you let your face soften. Just breathe naturally. No need to focus on big inhales or exhales. Okay, follow along with me for just a few more moments. And now, without opening your eyes, just stop. Straighten your legs and stand as still as you can. Now you can go ahead and open your eyes, or you can leave them closed if you want. But what I'm going to invite you to do next is any movement that you feel like. So again, listen to your body, listen to what you're feeling, and anything that you feel like doing. It might be a stretch, you might want to lean down, do a little hang, roll back up. So this is the second part of the exercise, and this is again an exercise in paying attention and really being in tune with your body and where do you need to move. We're not all going to need the same warm-up, but when you can listen to your body and you can say, I'm a little stiff right here, I need to roll this shoulder out, or I really just want to hang for a moment, or I really need to stretch this leg. I would encourage you not to go into just a static stretch, but really keep moving, make some big motions, embrace any little pops and cracks that happen. This is my favorite way to warm up and how I encourage my riders to warm up and also to have this practice of bringing more awareness to their body and to doing the movements that are going to most help you. So that brings us to the challenge that I have for you in this video. I am going to challenge or to invite you to do something new, a new movement activity, something that uses your whole body. It might be yoga, maybe a new type of yoga. It might be taking a dance class. It might be a new sport or activity. But do something new that gets your body moving in a different way. You'll find that the more that you start to do different movement practices, the more that you challenge your brain to have to go in there and figure out a new movement and learn a new movement, it can indirectly improve your riding. So that as you're improving your body awareness and that body mapping, it comes over into your ability to improve your riding. This is something that I have done my whole life. I love all kinds of physical activities, and I've really put a lot of focus time into it for myself because I was in a similar situation in that from some accidents that I'd had and some injuries, I was starting to feel stiff, I was starting to feel pain, and it was especially when I was riding, which really was kind of heartbreaking. So I really put time into exploring new movement, into focusing on how can I give my body what it needs to heal and to be able to move more fluidly. I did the same advice that I gave you. I really focused on my thoughts about my body and my movement, and I also did some really intensive work. I joined an Ido Portal school and studied there for a semester, and some of the exercises that I shared here and will continue to share with you in some upcoming projects were a result of that start of learning that I got there. So that's what I wish for you today. I hope that this information and that this exercise was helpful. I really encourage you to go use it because, again, movement is something that we can't just conceptualize. We have to feel it, and we have to be present with that feeling to really get the benefit, and your horse is going to thank you as well. So I'd love to hear from you. Put a comment down below and let me know what is that new activity that you're going to try. I'll see you in the comments.